40 card deck. Let's get it shuffled properly. Alright. Quick cut, and let's get started. What are the first 5 draws? Master Cerberus, Magician Souls, Mythical Beast Garuda, Pot of Desires, and Spellbook of Secrets. It's not bad, but I'll show you how you can make a nice board just using these 5 cards. Now to start with, we'll activate Magician Souls effect, and we'll send Master Endymion to the graveyard. Alright, now we'll go with Master Cerberus. Use the effect to destroy itself, allowing us to search a Mythical Beast Jack or King. Let's see, right here. Now activate it. Use the effect to destroy itself, to special summon a Mythical Beast from the extra deck, and obviously we'll just choose Master Cerberus. At this point, I'll activate Spellbook of Secrets, searching us Blue Boy to the hand, and now link these two away for Crowley, giving us another search right there. 1, 2, with the third one, 3. So we'll just roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're on a 4. So we'll just get this to a hand. I mean, it didn't really matter which one we drew into because we searched Blue Boy in our hand before. And now, since we used up all the spellbook engines, what we can do is activate spellbook, discard this, get a quick cut from the deck, and then we'll just draw 2 cards, Pot of Desires and Mythical Beast. Quite dead, to be honest, but we'll make use of it eventually. Now we'll activate Pot of Desires, banish 10, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, draw 2 cards. Okay, so now we've got actual scales, so we can play with that. Banish these cards, put them to the side. Before that, let's just see what we banished. So yeah, we didn't get affected. Servant of Endymion is still in the deck, so that's still good. We'll add these to a hand. So at the moment, these are the cards we have. We have a low scale, high scale, a negate, a dead card, and another dead card. Well, a hand trap really. What we'll do now is we'll activate Master of Endymion, then activate Reflection, giving Magister 1 counter. Where's the counter? Right there. Okay. And now we'll Pendulum Summon. Let's see, let's make a bit of room here. We'll Pendulum Summon. Let's see. Put that on one side. And one here. Now with this one, we can Pendulum Summon it to give us an extra body on board so we can link up, but right now or we can keep it in our hand and use it as a hand trap. So what the effect of this is, if I can remove 3 counters from my side of the field and summon itself, by doing so it will bounce back a card that is normal or special summoned. But looking at the board, I think we'll keep it in our hand. Let's see if this benefits us or gives us trouble. For now, we'll keep it in our hand. We'll link these two away for Celine, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counters. Now, as you can see, that was the 5th summon. So if someone Nibiru'd us, we can just remove counters from here to negate it. So first summon, second summon was this. Third summon, fourth summon, and fifth summon. I just had to quickly just make sure that what I was saying was correct. Okay, now let's carry on. Let's say if they didn't have Nibiru, we'll just remove 3 counters from here, giving us 2 counters. And this allows us to special summon Magician Souls. We'll use the effect to discard 1 spell to draw 1 card, and we draw into Servant. Nothing we can do there. Now, since we didn't use our normal summon, I will normal summon Servant of Endymion and link up to another Celine, giving us 5 counters. But now I'll use the effect by removing 3 counters, sorry, leaving us with 2 to summon up Mighty Master of Magic. Now, what do we have here? We have 1 monster negate by removing 2 spell counters, which we have here. We have 1 spell and trap negate by removing 1 counter, which we have here. So what we can do on the opponent's turn, we can just bounce. Let's say if they do start with a spell card, we'll use this effect to bounce this card back to our hand, giving 1 counter to Mighty Master of Magic. Since he has a counter, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it can't be targeted. Sorry, yeah. And let's say if they activate a monster effect, we'll just remove 2 counters, and that should stop them. Or if they were, instead of activating a monster effect, if they were going to the normal summon, we'll just remove these 3, summon this in defense mode, bounce 1 card back. Alright, let's get started. Let's give us a quick shuffle. There we go. Quick cut. Let's get started with the first 5 hands. We got Jack-O King, Master Cerberus, Citadel, another Cerberus, and Spellbook. Okay. So these are the cards. Now what we can do is we'll start by collecting spell counters with Citadel. So we'll just activate that, leave it onto the side. Activate Master Cerberus. Right there, use effect to destroy itself. To search, this time, since we already have Jack-O King in our hand, I will search out let me see. There you go, Garuda. So what Garuda does, remove 3 counters, and bounce back a normal or special summon that your opponent does. So it's nice to have in your hand. Now we'll use, and since we activated Mythical Beast, we'll just add 1 counter to Citadel. Then we'll activate Jackal King, giving us another counter. Use effect, destroy itself to summon Master Cerberus. Then we'll go into our normal summon, use effect, go into our secrets. Now we won't use secrets now. What I'll do is I'll link these 2 cards away for Crawley. There we go. Use Crawley's effect. We'll get out all the spellbook cards possible. So 1 knowledge, 1 prophecy, and 1 secrets. We'll roll the die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We roll the 4. So we'll get this to our hand. And then add this to the deck. And shuffle it. Oh. Quick cut. Alright. No, I guess it wasn't necessary. Because we're going to search it out with... We're going to search out knowledge with secrets. There we go. And since we activated secrets, Citadel gets another counter. So hopefully if we draw into a servant or Magister, then it will give us an extra summon. So we'll just give it a quick cut. There we go. Add knowledge back to hand. Send Seekers to the graveyard. Now we'll activate knowledge, giving an extra counter, and we'll discard Blue Boy. Draw 2 cards. We're gonna have a Jackal King and Mighty Master. I mean, it's not that bad. At this point, what I'll do now is, this normally shouldn't be done, but I'll activate my second Cerberus onto the field, giving us 5 counters. And my play of action is to, since we drew into Endymion, we'll try to use the effect, pendulum effect, to summon itself and go on from there. But now I'll activate the scale. Now we've got 6 counters, giving us enough counters to activate the scale effect of Endymion. But before that, we'll just do a quick pendulum summon. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Now normally I would keep this in my hand, but since we don't have much to play with, the more monsters we have on the board, the better it is for us. And Nibiru can't affect us because we've got Jackal King and we've got enough counters to negate that effect. What we'll do now is, that's the graveyard right now. So we have how many spells? Okay, 2 spells for Celine in the graveyard, so a total of 5 counters. I think the best plan of action would be just going into Celine. There you go, and rack up the counter. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll put 5 counters here. Oh, let me bring it down for you. So now we have more than enough counters to use 2 monster negates. And finally, I'll use Endymion's effect. Remove 1 counter from Celine. And then 5 counters from Citadel. We always want Citadel on the field with at least 1 counter so that we can use Mighty Master to send it back to our hand and then use it for negate. So I've removed 1 counter from here, 5 counters from here, summon itself, put it in the middle, and I have to destroy at least one card on the field, and I'll just destroy my Master Cerberus, giving Mighty Master one counter. Now this is really good. So what we have here is 2 monster negates right here, 1 spell and trap negate. We could potentially summon a spellcaster from the graveyard, but obviously there's no use. So let's see on the opponent's turn. Let's just bring this here so you can see it properly. Alright. Let's say my opponent starts off with activating a spell card. Now normally, depending on what it is, I'll let it go through so my Jack-o'-kins can rack up spell counters. And then what I can do is, if they activate a monster effect, I'll negate it. Then if they activate a spell and trap, use this effect, bounces to my hand. But just to be on the safe side, and if you're quite new to this, what I'll do first is negate the first spell and trap that they use with Mighty Master. Removing this, sending this to our hand, adding an extra counter to Mighty Master, and then they will normally follow up with a monster effect, and we can use negate. And that's it for another test hand. We'll do one final one. Alright, so this is going to be the final test hand. Let's get a good shuffle in. Cut the deck. And let's draw some cards. So the first card is Knowledge, Secrets, Citadel, Upstart, and 7th of Endymion. I mean, we started off bad, but ended amazing. So, obviously our opponent will know what we have, and if they do have an Ash Blossom, they'll most likely want to use it to 7th of Endymion. So what we'll try to do is bait it out as much as we can. But first we'll activate Citadel, and this is how we're going to bait it out. So even if we rack up the counters on Endymion, if they negate it, if they try to prevent us somehow, we can use the effects of Citadel to use its counters. But for now, I'll activate Upstart Goblin, given us drawing a card. I mean, through Master Cerberus. Perfect hand. Perfect. We'll send this to the graveyard. Give this one counter. Add it to our hand. Now what I can do now, I'm going to use Cerberus first. So if they do decide to ash this, then I can still play with Endymion. I'm doing this because if I play Endymion first, and if they decide to ash this, then this is a dead card. So I'm going to play Cerberus first, giving Citadel an extra counter. Use effect, destroy itself to search out Jack-o'-king. Standard procedures. There we go. Jack-o'-king to my hand. Activate Jack-o'-king. Citadel gets another counter. Let me place it properly so you guys can see. Now destroy itself to summon out Master Cerberus. Now ideally they would have ashed, or after this play you kind of assume that they don't have Ash Blossom. So what I'll do is I'll activate 7th of Endymion. 2 counters here, 4 counters here. Activate Spellbook of Secrets. Searching Blue Boy. Add that to the hand. And then since we activate the spell card, no counter there. And this gives us 5 counters. Oh, and obviously the most important counter on Servant. Now we'll normal summon. This allows us to search a spellbook card. And we would search where are they? Here we go. Now we'll activate Knowledge's effect, discarding this, drawing off 2 cards. Since we activated this gets counter, this gets a counter, this gets a counter. Then we draw 2 cards. 1, 2. What more can I say? Perfect. The last test hand was the best test hand. We'll keep this as a hand trap, and we'll activate Spellbook Mastery. For this one, we will add Mighty Master, and since we activated a spell card, 2 counters here, 1 counter here, and 1 more counter there. And then using Mastery's effect, I can give an additional counter, and I'll decide to give it to Citadel. So let's go through graveyard, add that to my hand. Let's see. Now I'll activate Endymion's effect to summon itself from the skull, giving it a counter. And obviously I will search up Mr. Jackal King, giving us the protection from Nibiru's and any future hand traps at the moment. And I'll just give it 1 counter. Perfect. So we're off to a good start right now. Now I'll activate Mighty Master. Let me just move this card so we can see. Okay, perfect. I'll activate this, and this will give us counters. So 2 counters there, 2 counters there, and 1 counter there. Use this effect. Remove 6 counters. Number removed from him because we're going to link this guy away. Summon this, and we have to destroy 1 card, and we will destroy Citadel. But the beautiful thing about Citadel is I can remove a counter to protect itself. The only downside to this strategy is that Mighty Master won't get a counter, but no worries. It's got more than enough resources to get counters later on. Now we'll go into our link plays. Let's see what's in our graveyard first. So we've got 5 spell cards in our graveyard. So Celine will get 5 plus 1, so 6 spell counters. So is Celine the right way to go? I mean, since we didn't, this is the thing. Since we don't have any relevant spellcasters in the graveyard, it's not the right thing to do. What we could do is link summon IP. Now the reason for this is that it will make them play against IP, because they'll be scared that a card will get bounced back into their hand. But little do they know that we have another card that can bounce their monsters back to their hand. So on their first normal summon that they will do, or special summon, to try and get rid of Masquerena, I'll just remove 3 counters from here. so giving us 5 counters. Special summon this, get a bounce back. And then normally their follow-up play would be either to special summon a monster or activate a spell card to increase their resources. And if they do activate a spell card, I'll use Mighty Master's effect, bouncing Servant back into my hand, giving this a counter. And now we have a card to discard off of Masquerena. And if they do decide to summon a card, I'll just link this away. There you go. For Nightmare Unicorn, discarding 1 card, and they get another bounce. So this is how the new way to play pendulums. It's not by creating infinite number of negates. I mean, you can, of course, if you have the capability, then go for it. But it's more important to play wisely, and instead of concentrating on your deck, try to read your opponent's mind and play your opponent. So worry less about making combos, worry more about what's your opponent's next move going to be. So that way you'll be able to use your resources more carefully, like how I showed you right here. That concludes today's test hand. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe.